Hey everybody, welcome back to the Scentitar Fragrance Channel. Thank you so much for stopping by today. My name is Benjamin. I review fragrances, colognes, perfumes, and all things scent related. I love to help y'all save money, find the best fragrances, learn about those fragrance notes and all those little details. Today we're going to be talking about expensive fragrances. Yes, niche fragrances. They aren't for everybody, but sometimes we got to find fragrances that are really special, fragrances that are perfect for all the different occasions we might find ourselves. And sometimes it's really nice to know we have something exclusive, something special. Your neighbor down the street, whenever you go to an event, you are probably not going to smell, or nobody else is going to smell like you. So that's something special, and I think that there is a good place for niche. And there's a good place for just everything, cheapies, designers, and everything in between. And of course, the new and upcoming indie fragrances. But today, let's talk about niche. Let's talk about these exclusive and perhaps special fragrances. And I did make this list unisex. You ladies, I wanted to make a list that you could perhaps find some fragrances that you could wear. And some guys, if you want something but perhaps more safe, something that's not going to be as masculine with the tobaccos and with the ouds and with the really strong ambers and all those kinds of things. Those are wonderful fragrances, and they do stand up to the cold very well, but sometimes you might want something that's a little bit less daring, or perhaps a little bit less strong for those office situations, for those some of those party situations, and situations where you might need to be a little bit more careful. So let's jump into these. Guys and gals, I want to share Elborn with you from Cologne, Barcelona first. This is a beautiful fragrance. Oh yes, it is. It's perhaps a very unisex vanilla. The vanilla comes off not dry particularly, but almost dusty. It is a little bit skin-like. It is almost a little bit powdery. Especially in the opening, you can tell that there's some citrus to this fragrance. It's a light and bright, playful vanilla fragrance. And vanilla, of course, does so well in the cooler months, in the winter, and in the fall. So this is definitely a compliment getter. It's not the strongest fragrance. Some of these aren't the strongest, but it has good performance. It's a very charming fragrance. This can be romantic. It's perfectly unisex. Guys can pull it off and not feel uncomfortable with how sweet it is. And ladies can definitely pull it off if they don't want something so girly or so loud or so flirtatious. But trust me, this has a charm of its own. A very nice citrus when you just want to feel uplifted a little bit. And then it's soft and cozy with just a little bit of a vanilla kind of blanket going on. So a very charming fragrance. Elborn is talked about. It perhaps is a little bit popular in the niche world and in the fragrance world, and it deserves the love. So check out Elborn by Cologne, Barcelona. The next one I wanted to share with y'all is one of my perhaps favorite fragrance finds of last year when I was sampling, and this is on my buy list. I might just get it for Christmas. This is none other than Black Musk by Mad Et Lin. Yes, this is a niche fragrance nobody really talks about on YouTube. I don't think that there's a review of it on YouTube yet. But it's a beautiful floral fragrance, but it has a interesting black musk accord. It doesn't exactly smell like smoke, but it comes pretty close to it. And the musk is to die for. It's a kind of intense musk, but it's not animalic or anything like that. It is still a very clean fragrance, but it just comes off in a very interesting, kind of powerful way, but it's still an inoffensive fragrance. Musks are very easy to wear, very inoffensive, and even though it says black musk, and even though it's a black bottle and it might scare you away, this is quite an inoffensive fragrance. It's just a musk with a little bit of that obscure, that perhaps a little bit of the vibe of the gothic, but it's still inoffensive. It's still easy to approach, but this one definitely has some character. Some of these are more easygoing. This is one of the ones that really speaks to me. So if you want a assertive musk, you guys out there and ladies, definitely if you love to wear all black, this is going to be one that's going to be perfect for you. Of course, everybody knows Black Phantom, but that's another fragrance for another day. Let's talk about the next one. Let's talk about Intense Cafe by Montal. I've talked about this one a little bit on my channel. The new bottle, the new version, the Restrito, I believe that's how you say it, is stealing all of the show, and this one still needs some attention. I don't think it got enough attention, when it first came out. It's a beautiful, soft coffee fragrance. That, of course, you would expect that with Intense Cafe. I don't really get any bakery goods. I don't really get a bread accord or anything like that when it's called cafe. I just get mostly coffee, but it's charming. It's quite nice. It's soft. It does have a little bit of musk in a way to it. As it dries down, though, that coffee becomes more apparent. The little bit of the florals on the top just kind of dissipate, but you can tell that there's kind of a charming, well-rounded nature to this fragrance. It took me a little bit of time to realize, but this is rose. This fragrance has a good amount of rose. So what you're getting is a rose coffee fragrance that again has kind of like a white musk, perhaps a little bit of white amber as it dries down. And it's just a beautiful, charming fragrance. Very soft, very cozy. It sounds like it would smell like the coffee shop. It smells like it would be hard to wear. But trust me, this has Netflix and chill. If you want a cuddle and a blanket, this is a beautiful kind of fragrance. All of these would work. Elborn would be beautiful for that. Intense Cafe is so charming. It's so likable. It's so wearable, especially for the colder weather. I really think that that one stands out in a beautiful way. So let's talk about the next one, ladies and gents, boys and girls, and again, everybody else in between. This is a Zafiro by Florist. Now, if you're familiar with this fragrance, you might say that this is perhaps a little bit more on the citrus side, and you perhaps would be right, but this one is very charming. It has an energetic, a tiny bit of that red berry nature. It's very well blended. It's very energetic. It does have a little bit of a citrusy quality to it, but it's happy and it's cheerful, but yet there's this amber-like quality in the dry down. And this is perhaps the only amber that I have the feeling, if I gave this amber a color, I would say that this is a red amber. It has this energy and this vibrancy behind it. Zafiro is a very playful fragrance. It's very elegant, and yet, it's nice and approachable. And I do feel like this one would be a little bit more comfortable on the ladies. Yes, ladies, I'm trying to make a list for you that perhaps you can wear a little bit more. But you guys, especially if you're more interested in the metro sense as a guy, I think that you definitely could wear this fragrance. It's very beautiful. And of course, we're trying to get away from gender and fragrances. Just wear what you like and what appeals to you, what is beautiful, and what suits your personality. So this is a unisex fragrance. It really is, but perhaps it's slightly more comfortable with the ladies. But again, a beautiful, ambery, kind of playful red, almost red color type of fragrance. It's not a red colored juice, but it has that feel to it. A little bit of red berries, a little bit of red pepper, and definitely beautiful florals and citrus going on. It might not sound like it stands up to the cold, but this one actually has good performance, decent performance overall, and it can lift up your mood on a cold day, on a drizzly day, on a rainy day like it is today. So check out Zafiro by Florist if you want kind of an elegant fragrance that's playful. And that one's really hard to beat. And trust me, if I smelled that on a lady, I'd be smitten. I think it's a beautiful fragrance. The next one is Fat Electrician. I just brought out one that's a little bit more comfortable for the ladies. I think that this one is a little bit more comfortable for the men. This one is a boozy, playful vetiver fragrance. Fat Electrician is a very modern, interesting take on vetiver. And if you're unfamiliar with vetiver, it's a certain type of a root from a certain type of grass. It has a distinct woodiness. This one has a distinct, almost cognac, very kind of like light boozy nature. It does have a little bit of a lemon to it, but that quickly kind of dies away, and then you get more of this interesting, sparkly, musky vetiver accord. It does definitely still smell like vetiver, but again, it smells quite interesting, quite futuristic, and I think this one won an award out there. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section below, but I think this one, Fat Electrician, won an award. It's very well composed, very interesting, and for a modern vetiver, it's very wearable. Vetiver, just like some of those oak moss fragrances and accords to perhaps a lot of people out there, seem to be connected to the past. and this one brought it to the 20th century. And this vetiver fragrance is very modern, very futuristic, and nobody is going to perhaps take it the wrong way and think you smell like their uncle or anything like that. So, Fat Electrician, a very interesting vetiver fragrance. Ladies, if you've ever been interested in vetiver, if you think that you're comfortable with a note that's a little bit perhaps more on the masculine side, I would give Fat Electrician a try. It might be interesting to you. It might be a pleasant surprise if you're comfortable with those kinds of fragrances. So let's jump into a beautiful fragrance. One of the best on this list. This is Starry Nights by Montal. Everybody, y'all got to check this one out. This one is a hidden gem that people in the fragrance community and the fragrance world are not talking about. Starry Nights. A very charming, playful, beautiful, almost Midnight in Paris-like fragrance. If you're familiar with that fragrance, if you love that fragrance and you miss it, I don't think you'd be disappointed with getting this fragrance. It's not as dense. You are getting a little bit of that, almost that patchouli-like, musk-like dry down. It's very playful and energetic, but yet in the top of the fragrance, there is perhaps a little bit of citrus. The lemon perhaps does a little bit of a dance. It doesn't smell boozy, which can make a fragrance seem to dance up and down. But this fragrance does have a little bit of a playful kind of quality to it. I think it was Fragrance Runner, perhaps, who talked about this fragrance first. And I think that this is a showstopper. I think that this is a real compliment getter. It's a very playful, interesting fragrance. You got to try it out. It does have a little bit of a sandalwood nature as it dries down. So you've got to check this one out. It's a beautiful fragrance. It deserves all the attention in the world. I hope that other reviewers perhaps check out this fragrance and talk about this fragrance because it deserves some attention. Starry Nights is a beautiful fragrance. Very well composed, very well done. It has decent performance, just like all of these have pretty good performance. It's very easy to wear for both genders, and it's very comforting, again, with that soft musky, almost sandalwood-like nature to it. So check out Starry Nights, and it has perhaps one of the best openings and transitions in a fragrance that I've ever tried in a fragrance, where it's very different from the opening to the dry down, and it just does it masterfully and playfully. So a very playful fragrance. Check out none other than Starry Nights, a real winner of a fragrance. So the next one is none other than Santal by Florist. Now, this again is a fragrance that's a little bit more on the classy side. It's a little bit more on the refined side of things. And I do feel like perhaps ladies would be more comfortable with this fragrance. But if you're not familiar, Santal usually means sandalwood. But when perfumers often do Santal style fragrances, for me, the fragrances do smell like sandalwood, but they lean a little bit more on the amber side. I don't know why that is, but Santal is a very beautiful, lightly spiced fragrance. You get a little bit of that amber quality in the dry down. Again, sandalwood is a beautiful, comforting note that does so well in the cold. It's just a beautiful, charming fragrance as it dries down. This one is a little bit more fancy. I think that it would be perfect for a lady in a gown. Guys, don't be scared of this fragrance. Santal is a beautiful fragrance that you can wear, again, if you're comfortable with more of those unisex type of fragrances. I'll have more masculine fragrances out with my more personal list. I'm going to have a tobacco list and all that kind of content. But definitely check this one out if this is something you're more comfortable with. I want to say this one has a rose quality to it, but I don't really get a lot of rose. It has interesting florals, perhaps a little bit of osmanthus in this fragrance. Again, but it's very light. It's slightly rosy overall, but again, it's just so well blended with amber and a little bit of sandalwood. So check out Santal for a fancy evening, for an evening out with a gown, for a party. You know, this one I think would be wonderful for a lady who, if you're wearing a red leather jacket, if you're wearing a leather jacket, ladies, and you got that kind of look going on, you're going to look stunning and you're going to smell stunning with a fragrance like Santal. So if you've stayed to the end of this video, you're going to get to see 3 bottles of niche fragrances that I personally own some of my favorites out of my collection, fragrances that are very special to me and that I have actually purchased, and of course with my own money. The first one here is Carter Barcelona's Palo Santo. I think I was one of the first people to ever buy this in the USA last year, perhaps. What you're getting out of this fragrance is a beautiful, tantalizing, incensey, woody fragrance. The incense, if you're unfamiliar with Palo Santo or Gaiac wood, it's considered a holy wood that comes from Brazil, and it has a very nice incense-like quality to it. It's burnt for meditation, religious practices, and just for goodwill and making a very comforting smell. It's very beautiful. It's a white musk. It's very clean. It does have an incense-like quality to it. And this fragrance almost has a little bit of the smell of vanilla to it. So, what you're getting, an incensey, beautiful, almost sandalwood-like fragrance that just has a beautiful incense behind it. Very clean, a white musk. This fragrance does smell a little bit like vanilla again, but it really doesn't have a lot of vanilla or any vanilla going into it. And you guys out there, if you've ever wanted to wear a vanilla-like fragrance and you felt very uncomfortable, I think that you could wear this one and it would be very nice for you. This one is very unisex, but it doesn't have any sweetness. It's not particularly playful or floral in any way. So you ladies out there, this one might not appeal to you as much. But I think that you could like this if you wanted a unisex incense fragrance. Palo Santo is a beauty. It's a very beautiful fragrance. If you like musky incense like accords, you just got to try this one. It's so very easy to wear for an incense type fragrance. It's very modern for an incense fragrance, and it's just a beauty. So if that's the kind of thing that you like, I think that you would love this fragrance. I think that this fragrance can be layered very well if you're into layering, but I like the artistry and I like the beauty of this fragrance. So I personally would never dare to layer this fragrance. But that is Carter Barcelona's Palo Santo, one of my favorite fragrances in my collection. It is a beauty. It is something special. So guys, here is another bottle, the second to last fragrance we're going to talk about today. This is none other than Stora Skogen's Moon Milk. I've talked about this on Fragrantica. I've talked about this here and there, and some people have never seen this bottle. And this is a niche fragrance. I paid for this with my own money. This one deserves the love. Look at this. Oh, it's beautiful. I don't know if y'all can see that all the way. Moon Milk is a beautiful sandalwood fragrance. It has a very interesting top. I like it. It's very playful. It's original. And it's a beautiful sandalwood fragrance. This one is compared to Midnight in Paris as well. And I think it deserves to be considered or compared to that wonderful fragrance. I can't describe this fragrance, how good it is. It's very hard to describe, but it's a very playful, beautiful sandalwood, mostly sandalwood. Perhaps there's a little bit of rose going on. I get a beautiful, almost a touch of cumin to it in a very clean way. This fragrance is very unisex, of course. It's very appealing. It's just so well blended. It's really hard to pick out the notes. I often, and I like to compare this to the niche version of Midnight in Paris. Y'all know how expensive Midnight in Paris is, especially for a original bottle of the EDP. In my opinion, you should be looking for this fragrance. This fragrance, even though it's niche and it's expensive, if you found an EDP version of Midnight in Paris by Van Cleef & Arpels, people would probably want $200 for it. And I believe this one's about $150, and I believe it's a 30 ml. So it's not a cheap fragrance by any means, but it's a very charming, very unique, high quality sandalwood. And nothing else out there is like it. Once it gets on your skin, it just becomes heavenly and soft. And for a sandalwood fragrance, this has pretty good performance. A lot of people get scared of things like sandalwood fragrances because a lot of the times they can be quite soft, but this one actually has pretty good performance. So check out Moon Milk by Stora Skogen. a very interesting artistic fragrance for the real niche lovers out there. If you like sandalwood, you've got to try this fragrance. It's a beautiful, charming fragrance. I don't know what else I can say about it. It's just very nice and very classy. And even though the box here isn't the most expensive, I do think it's a very nice box there. So, Stora Skogen, you did a fantastic job. And I think that this is a masterpiece of a fragrance. I truly do. Moon Milk, creamy, soft, beautiful, inviting. So the next one I have to share with y'all. Again, this list isn't in any particular order, but I had to bring this one out. This is Musk Nobilis. This is the vintage bottle. I don't believe it's been reformed, but their new bottle does look quite different. This is the original bottle of Musk Nobilis by Kiko Mechery. A very high quality musk, one of the best musks that you could ever get your nose on. It is very clean, very soft. It has a little bit of this sweet, almost like patchouli-like nature to it. Almost like a sweet patchouli in this musk. But overall, it's just a musk fragrance, and it's beautiful, and it's charming, and it's really hard to beat. Musk Nobilis is the best musk that I have ever tried, that I have ever worn. It is clean, it is sophisticated, it is a beautiful, charming fragrance. Musk Nobilis is a showstopper, and as far as musks go, again, I have never smelled a better musk in my experience of fragrances, in my fragrance journey, and my fragrance game. I don't know of a musk that ever comes close to this one. It is a little bit of a deeper musk. It's not a nighttime exclusive fragrance, but the musk does have a little bit of weight behind it. Some musks can be very light and very skin-like accord, transparent, earth-real, and ozonic. This one isn't deep particularly, but it does have a little bit of weight behind it. If we were talking about boxing, it's not a heavyweight, it's not a lightweight, perhaps it's in the middle. So take that into consideration if you know musk, if you like musks. So again, very clean. It has a little bit of this interesting, playful sweetness, but again, those are just nuances. Mostly, you're getting a beautiful musk fragrance. Very high quality. I've never smelled anything that comes close to the quality of Musk Nobilis. And it's clean. A lot of people get scared of musk fragrances because they can think they smell salty or animalic or perhaps like other bodily fluids, but this one smells very clean and sophisticated. It's going to mix with your skin, and it's going to smell like you, just a natural, very clean skin-like accord to you. It's just going to enhance your natural skin-like smell, almost like an eccentric molecule. This one is not cheap by any means. I believe this is a 50 mil. Yes, this is only a 50 mil, and I believe it's about $300. I'll have to get back to you on the price and put it down here below. But if I remember right, they had a special sale going on, and I had to scoop it up probably before they were switching to their newer bottles. But I got this for an unbelievable price for the quality, and I was very happy to pick this fragrance up. So this has been my niche list. This has been a very long list, a very expansive list of some very fantastic, high quality niche fragrances. Fragrances that I think are worth the money. Fragrances, some of them, again, here, that I paid for with all my money. And I paid for all of these decants. If you're unfamiliar where I get my decants, honestly, these are from Lucky Scent. And I've been challenged by Mr. Cheap Colognes to make a video about why I mess with, Scentbird or any of those brands that do decants. And I'll do that in the future. I'll do that in a week or two. But thank y'all so much for being here today. If you like this content, if you like niche fragrances, please let me know in the comment section below. I know that they're expensive. I know that they're not for everybody. I have affordable fragrance content coming out. I love classic fragrances. I love all fragrances. And today I wanted to share with you, of course, beautiful unisex fragrances for everybody out there that are niche. Expensive, exclusive, interesting, and very well composed fragrances. So if you want to smell unique, please let me know if any of these sounded interesting to you. If you wear any of these fragrances, if you like any of them, please let me know. If any of these fragrances are what you would like to wear, or if you're even interested in niche fragrances. Let me know if you like content about niche at all. I would like to make content that you people like out there on YouTube and the fragrance world. I'm here for you to make content for you. So thank you so much again for being here today. This has been a long episode, a lot of work, and I truly love these fragrances and think that they're something special. I'll see y'all next time. This has been the Scentitar Fragrance Channel. Have a fantastic week. I'll see you Wednesday, and have a good one. Keep it safe, keep it clean, have fun, live it up, and wear what you love. I'll see you next time, and bye.